Hey, it's Professor Bear here again. I'm going to talk about the projects we have at Humanitarians AI. This is Mycroft. Like the other projects, this is an agentic AI project. So if you're going to be a Mycroft fellow, you're going to start by building little components. So components for Mycroft are financial. You might write a component which looks congressional trades because congressmen have to register their trade. If maybe five congressmen at the same time are all buying or selling the same thing, that's interesting. Same thing for insiders. We have things that look at sentiment. We have things that look at unusual activity. We have things that just basically get, SEC filings and that data. So those are the basic components. We use a tool called N8N. The reason why I use N8N, it's a great tool. It's sort of open source, meaning we can extend it and we get access to the code for educational purposes. And it's a wonderful framework, and we're going to extend a little bit. And this is the orchestration layer, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you start off as a fellow, you're going to be building a little component, a little financial component that we can use with the other components and make little financial agents. So what about this orchestration layer? So old school reinforcement learning, it's been around for a long time. It's very powerful. It's what makes a Tesla self-driving car drive. It makes, things like all of these chess playing algorithms, deep blue, all that stuff work. So how does this work? So for example, with a car, your environment is your cameras. If you were playing a Pac-Man game or a Pong game, your environment would be the pixels on the screen, typically 2 or 3 shots, so we can get a time aspect of it. If you're playing a Pong game, your actions are moving the paddle up and down. If it's a car, your actions are turning the steering wheel or hitting the brake, that kind of thing. Your state is a particular instance. For example, what is in the camera at that moment of a car? That might be a red light, that might be a green light, that may be people coming across the street, whatever. If it's a game, it would be the particular, the Pong ball is coming right at your paddle or whatever it is. And the agent makes decisions. What's happened in agentic AI is a little different. So in agentic AI, people often use the language models, and so often the language models without other math to make the decisions. They just say, hey, do this, do that with a language model. Our approach is the language model is very powerful. They essentially drive the agentic AI revolution, but they're not the only bit of information you should use. Other things that are different with agentic AI rather than traditional agents are triggers. Although triggers are used in regular AI as well, they're very common. So something happens, and you start your car, it causes the agent to start. A big event happens in the stock market, something happens. So let me talk a little bit about what those events are. So this past week, our agents detected something very unusual with Tesla. So in overnight trading, Tesla went from like 333 around there, 332 to 300 overnight. Because of that, we thought it was seriously undervalued based on our models, and we bought a bunch of options, which is very unusual for us because options are risky, and I'll do other videos on options and when to use options, when not to use options, etc. We also just used a limit buy and bought a bunch of Tesla at 300. Very quickly, because we believe this was highly unusual, it started going back up. It actually went up to 330. We had limit sales at 330 and 327. And over the past week, it's just been going up and down. Tesla's an amazing stock. It'll literally go, we will sell it at 330, 325, 327. The next day, we'll buy it at 318, 319. Then the very next day, we'll sell it again at 325, 326, 327. If you get deeper in this, we'll get into the math of how we pick our numbers. But if you are going to start this stuff, you're going to build an agent, for example, just to look at unusual activity. Something as weird is happening with Tesla. Our agents also told us today to buy Meta, even though Meta literally like a day or two ago was 715. Then it dropped under 700. So we got a bunch of stuff. And then something amazing happened today. At the end of literally at the end of, trading, 4 o'clock, it gained 12% after hours. So this price is actually this is what we got our Tesla around, our Meta at, I think 698, 699. It went up 80 today. This is going to be fun. I don't know what's happening with Meta. Something happened with Meta. That's a 12% jump after hours. And this is where the agentic AI is so powerful. There are a lot of stocks. And if something happens like this, 12% jump after hours, I don't know what's going on with Meta. I haven't looked at the news. I would expect a jump this big would show up all over my, LinkedIn feed and other feeds. It hasn't. Something happened though. And we can tell that something happened because it went up 80 points after hours in a very sharp time, like an hour after hours. So I'm guessing they did some announcement, and sometimes these announcements are timed after hours because of this. Something happened. And so these are why these agents are so powerful, is you don't have time as a human being to know that 4 senators decided to, or 5 senators all decided to sell this stock. You have a life. Same thing with all these other things. But what the tools allow you to do is, this is unusual. When it's unusual, a human being needs to look at it. Something is happening here. Something is still happening with Tesla, and Tesla's a very unusual one because of Musk. I think he just, people are not rational when they come to Tesla, which you can take advantage of as an investor. So back to the Mycroft. What you will do initially is just build a tool, something useful, gather inside information, gather stock information, gather sentiment, detect unusual patterns. Tesla dropped 10% after hours. That goes on your watch list. You need an email saying, get up before the market opens and start looking at Tesla. Start thinking about how you want to take advantage of this. Same thing right now with Meta. This is real time. I don't know what's going to happen with Meta tomorrow, but that's unusual. 12% after hours. And fortunately, our bots told us to buy some Meta, which we did. Wish we had bought more, because of $80 per share today after hours. And so this is the power of these agentic systems in finance. Finance is very event driven, very time sensitive. The week old Tesla thing is, you can still sort of get the trail end of it, but you needed to be there at the time. You need to be there at the stock market tomorrow dealing with Meta. Because something happened today with Meta, which was highly unusual. It went from 715 down to 700 and then back up over 780. So this is what these things do. You have a life. You don't, you don't want to spend your day just looking at ticker symbols. You want to, work out and, relax and do things. But when those things happen, you want to know about it. And this is the power of agentic AI. So as a fellow, if you're interested in this world of finance and trading, I happen to have an MBA and a master's in finance. And we have other experts who work with us on these things. But what you are initially going to do is build a little tool related to finance. And so if you're really thinking of working for a hedge fund or working for Goldman Sachs or working for a bank, this would be a good thing for you. It's less sort of creative than the other projects like the Mycroft. You can make videos and little commercials and things like that. Popper is deeply mathematical. So if you're interested in fundamental, the math in finance is pretty simple. But the Popper math is really interesting. And again, you'll have some math here because how do we pick the strike price? How do we do that fundamentally and statistically? But that's more advanced. So the way it works is you join the project, you build a little tool. If you do a good job, then you can either continue building little tools or you can get promoted to either dealing with the math how do we decide a limit price? How do we decide to place an option, which is a highly risky thing, which we rarely do unless it's highly unusual? How unusual has to be unusual? Those are all mathematical questions. And then start thinking about improving the agentic architecture of basic reinforcement learning for finance. So I hope this gives you a sense of what it's about. Like most of the projects, it's centered around agentic AI. And with any of the projects, you will learn agentic AI. But if you have more of a passion for finance, you want to get a job in finance, it helps to, or just want to make money in the stock market, this would be a good project for you. So I hope this gives you a sense of what the Mycroft project is, why you might want to be involved with this one rather than another agentic project. But this is, this is finance. It's a finance thing. So I'll do my usual thing. Humanitarians AI is a nonprofit. Most people do not donate to nonprofits, and that's okay. But if you like this, share it, ring the bell, do that things, it helps us. And I think these are useful tools that we build, open source tools. Anybody can use this as open source. So if you work on this project, you can start your own little hedge fund or ETF or whatever you want with the code. You can bring it into the company that you work with. Or you can, just use this for your own personal finance. If you have some stock market investing and you want to be alerted when highly unusual things happen, or when 7 congressmen all buy the same stock at the same time, then this would be a nice project to get involved with. So hopefully that gives a sense of what this is about. I will be making videos on all of our projects. And the purpose of these videos is so you can make a rational choice of, if you want to get involved, what project that you want to get involved in. And our basic philosophy is we want you to be passionate about the project. Our experience is, if you do not care, you do not do a good job. So we don't force you into a particular project, but if you do a project, we expect you to commit to that project. We have simpler projects than these, and I'll make videos on those. If you just want OPT and want to do something very simple, we have those projects as well. But this is a project for somebody who has a real interest in finance and a real interest in agentic AI. Okay, that's it. I've already gone way too long, but it is what it is. Take care.